Here are things that I struggle with as a type 1 diabetic of 17 years, so you don't feel as alone. If you guys don't know me, I'm Danica. I'm a type 1 diabetic gym rat, and I've been a type 1 diabetic for over 17 years now, which is crazy. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more diabetes content, and make sure to follow all of my other social media channels as well. First, we've got to get our bev because this is gonna be a conversation and a half, so.
Stop drinking beer for breakfast!
Okay, so let's begin. I don't know if you guys have seen me on my other social media channels, but one thing about me is I'm very positive. I've always been a very positive person about my type 1 diabetes. I've never looked at it as a negative thing. I struggle with my type 1 diabetes sometimes, so let's talk about the first thing. The first thing that I've actually struggled with is having not one, but 2 EDs. And if you guys don't know what a ED is, think of B-I-N-G-E, eating, and the opposite. So I actually used to struggle with both of those as a type 1 diabetic. I still sometimes struggle with the B-I-N-G-E one. And let me just tell you, that and type 1 diabetes, they do not mix.
They do not mix.
But struggling with the B-I-N-G-E stuff has been really difficult anyways, because I am a gym girl and I've been a gym girl for a very long time. So I really do care what my body looks like, because I'm also somebody who has a gym account on social media, and that's actually how I started social media at first. So it is really, really mentally draining, and it's very difficult to navigate through, but I know that a lot of type 1 diabetics struggle with this as well, which is why I wanted to talk about it. But just know that when it comes to struggles with food or exercise as a type 1 diabetic, you are not alone. Like, I remember when I was going through what I was going through, I thought I was the only type 1 diabetic in the world that was dealing with this. And it was so isolating and it felt so lonely. But believe me when I say that you are not alone, because there are so many people who go through it. It's just not talked about enough. Like, it is not talked about
enough at all.
Obviously, I'm in a much better place now, and I rarely ever do B-I-N-G-E, but it still happens every once in a while, and thankfully I've taken the right steps to be able to kind of overcome that. But I know that there are a lot of people out there who still struggle with it, and just know that I hear you and I see you. Okay, and the next one, I actually have low blood sugar anxiety. So I get really, really, really terrified when my blood sugar goes low. I will have an immediate panic attack. This started happening in like 2021, 2022. I do not know what happened, because at this point I had already been a type 1 diabetic for I think like 14 years or 13 years. And it just absolutely punched me in the face. Like, the low blood sugar anxiety absolutely annihilated me, and it quite literally ruined my life in the year of 2022. But obviously there are so many positives that came out of it, because I started social media, I started connecting with you guys, and it's been an amazing journey since. But even to this day, I'm still really, really scared of low blood sugar. I don't know why. I have gone low probably 1,000 times in my life, and suddenly this fear just came on, and it's still kind of going strong, not as strong as it used to be. But yeah, out of nowhere, it came and hit me right in the face. So believe me when I say that you're not alone if you're also scared of low blood sugar, because it can be a very, very scary thing. For a while, and even to this day, I still run my blood sugars a little bit higher because I'm so terrified of going low, especially if I'm by myself. Like, if I'm by myself, baby, I'm looking at my Dexcom and I'm seeing 18.5 and I'm like, what a perfect number. Perfect, I'm basically in range. Okay, no, that's not true. But I see, you know, in the 12s or 13s, and that's kind of where my comfort zone is when I'm by myself. And people will talk about anxiety as a symptom of low blood sugar, but not necessarily the anxiety that comes from just being low. Like, those, in my opinion, are two very different things, where yes, okay, low blood sugar can cause somebody to have a panic attack and to be anxious. But then on the flip side, there's people who are just so anxious about going low. And you know, I don't even know why it happens, but I know that there's a lot of people where this fear has just come out of nowhere and nobody can really seem to explain why. But that's the life of being a type 1 diabetic, is that sometimes things happen for no reason and you can't explain them. So that's something I definitely still struggle with to this day, is low blood sugar anxiety. Like, I'm so fearful of it. We're getting better. I'm working on exposure therapy, don't worry.
Okay.
But it is a really scary thought in my opinion. So yeah, again, just know that you're not alone, because in the diabetes world, there's no such thing as a unique experience. And I think that that's pretty cool when you look at it, because it's like, oh, you've
gone through that too.
Like, you know what I mean? So, okay, the next one kind of relates to the fear of low blood sugar, but whenever I go out, especially to like the bar or the club or even just the mall, I will run my blood sugar higher so I don't have to worry about dealing with a low blood sugar. I remember when me and my friends and my boyfriend went out to a bar, and because we were obviously drinking adult drinks, his blood sugar went low, and it took like an hour and a half for it to come up because it was like his liver was processing the alcohol, yada, 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 and it just took freaking forever. And I was like, that's not worth it to me. I would rather my blood sugar be 15, 16.
I know that's not healthy.
I don't need a lecture. I know that's not healthy, but it's what I do and it's what works for me for right now. But yeah, like whenever I'm going out, I just would rather my blood sugar be higher than lower because I don't want to have to deal with a low blood sugar. I do not want to have to pull my car over and be panicking about a low blood sugar. Not my vibe, not my cup of tea. I would way rather my blood sugar be high than low. Long term, I know it's not great, okay? I don't need you to tell me, but it's what works for me for right now. So that is something we're trying to work through and work towards, you know, having the goal of being in range. But as of right now, that is what's working for me. Damn! Okay, and the next one is that I struggle with diabetes burnout more than I would like to admit. Anytime diabetes causes the slightest inconvenience in my life, so pretty much like every few minutes, I suddenly get burnt out, and then I'm just an absolute wreck. I'm crashing out, and then 10 minutes later, I'm good to go, and life is handy and dandy. But I struggle with it a lot, like especially when it interferes with my workout or my jujitsu. I don't know if you guys know, but I'm a blue belt in jujitsu.
So cool.
Damn! But yeah, anytime it interferes with either of those, I'm like crashing out for a good 30 minutes, and then usually I wake up and I feel fine. But diabetes burnout is talked about, but not in the sense of, for me, I feel like I get burnt out at one point or another every single day. Where, you know, for me, it's not a prolonged period of being burnt out. It's usually just like little crash outs pretty much every day where I'm like, I don't want to be a diabetic. Why am I a diabetic? Why isn't my pancreas? It doesn't, like, you go down that rabbit hole, and then I gotta clock back in, and I'm like, okay, babe, we're gonna deal with this. We're gonna be fine. We've always been fine. We've never not been fine. So let's clock back in, you know what I mean? So, but I feel like having those little moments of just being able to crash out and let your feelings out can be really validating. And I think in a way it's important as well to have those moments because you don't want those feelings to build up over time and then just like explode. Like that is not the vibe, that's not what we're going for. So in my opinion, I think it's good to actually let yourself feel all of the feelings that come along with having type 1 diabetes because you're human. Like I'd be concerned if everything was just handy and dandy all the time. Like even with me, I'm a very positive person about my type 1 diabetes, like beyond, probably a little too positive. But that doesn't mean that I don't have moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish I was never diagnosed, or oh my gosh, I hate this condition, where, and y'all know that I will never say that, but I do say it sometimes. And that's okay, because all I'm doing is validating my feelings about a certain situation, or even sometimes it's not even about anything. Like sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't even want to take insulin right now. I don't want to change my Dexcom. I don't want to change my pump. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. And so sometimes it happens for a reason, but then sometimes it just happens because of diabetes. And that doesn't make your feelings any less valid. And I think that it's important to listen to yourself in those moments to be like, okay, how can I validate my own feelings? Like for me, a girl loves to cry. Oh my gosh, a girl loves to cry. Like I love a good cry sesh, and then I'm back up and running and I'm good to go.
Nice.
So find what works for you in that sense, because I know that this is something that pretty much every diabetic struggles with. But even the ones you see on social media, the ones that you see who have perfect blood sugars all the time, they struggle with diabetes burnout too. Like there's not a single diabetic that doesn't struggle with diabetes burnout. So remember that. Okay, and the last point I'm gonna talk about is that I struggle with being alone. So when I'm completely by myself, especially at night, I kind of struggle with it because again, this kind of goes into my fear of low blood sugar, but I just really struggle with it because I find that I have a really, really amazing support system. And so I love having people around to support me, especially if I'm in a scary situation, because diabetes can be so insanely unpredictable. I love having people around. I love being out with my friends. I love being around my family. And so it's something I really, really badly struggle with, is I get really anxious when I'm by myself. And I know a lot of other type 1 diabetics do too. That doesn't go to say that we can't be on our own. We can't live on our own. We can't travel on our own. We absolutely can, and we will. But as of right now, my comfort zone is within my circle. And I think that for me, it's really important for me to get out of my circle and to go do things by myself and to go do things alone. But it can be a really scary thought. I struggle with it a lot of the time. And I know that I'm not the only one who struggles with it. That's the thing, is that like all of these points I've been making, I know I'm not the only one. So that's why we're talking about them. And yeah, that's just kind of something that I've struggled with ever since the fear of low blood sugar came about. But I want to be that independent person again. I want to be that person who just goes out and does whatever at any time of the day. I am becoming her, I will say, so thank you very much. So yeah, those are just a few things that I struggle with as a type 1 diabetic of 17 years. Let me know if you relate to any of these points, because I know there are some of you out there who will and who do relate to a lot of these points. And if you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe. And I'm so excited to have you guys join my type 1 diabaddies family. And I will see you in my next video.